I'd never experienced kindness.
Yeah.
And so all I knew is that he saw me and he made me feel that I mattered.
Mm.
And I wanted to do that.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Shine a Light Podcast. This is Christine Miles, your host. I am here today with Pam Dwyer, speaker, author, and founder of the +1 theory. Yes. Let me tell you a little bit about Pam before we jump in. Pam is a transformational speaker, best-selling author, and the visionary behind the +1 theory and Delay the Binge. I can't wait to talk about that. 2 life-changing frameworks designed to help high-functioning women interrupt patterns of shame, emotional eating, and self-abandonment. They all go hand in hand. Her signature message, your past doesn't define you, it prepares you, is more than a mantra. It's a roadmap for rediscovery. With a background that spans trauma-informed storytelling, marketing, ministry, and mindset coaching, Pam's voice is rooted in both lived experience and professional training. From her childhood in East Texas through a powerful post-bariatric healing journey, she has been transformed from chronic illness, trauma, and emotional exhaustion into a bold movement of grace, identity, and self-worth. Well, that's like a love letter. That's not a bio. That's a love letter to women in general. Really is. It's beautifully said. And there's so much there. So let's start with your lived experience. Why don't we just go there?
Okay.
Tell me and tell my listeners about yourself.
Okay. Well, come along with me. Here we go.
Here we go.
We'll start. I grew up in East Texas, and my childhood was full of physical, mental abuse and just lots of trauma.
Okay.
And the parents divorced, lived with the dad, and the physical abuse got even worse for about a year. And then mom came in and
what year are you when your parents divorced?
I was 6 years old.
6. Wow.
Yeah.
Baby.
I went through a lot of counseling to offset, of course, all the things that are a result of that type of a childhood, right?
Did your mom leave because of the abuse?
Yes. There was lots of fighting and abuse in the house. Yes.
And she left you with your dad?
For a year. Well, back then, she never worked.
Yeah.
So she had to find work, find a home, and then there were 7 of us, but only 4 were young enough to have to stay home.
Wow. Okay. So that's a big move for your mom, for you. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just trying to slow down because this is so important and very personal. But I think whether you've been a victim of physical, sexual, emotional abuse, the trauma is so profound and it's so lifelong, isn't it?
It's forever, as you probably know. I mean, I've had 8 years of therapy, and every single psychiatrist that I've had has told me, we can't make this go away, but we can give you coping skills.
Managed, not cured.
Yeah.
Managed, not cured. Yeah.
And it does rear its head every once in a while.
So why is it forever?
It's forever because it's a pattern. It forms patterns of shame, guilt, fear, and that's always present. But I will say I learned how to use that for good things.
For yourself, for others, for both?
For myself and for others.
Okay.
Like you learn to read the room when you live in an abusive family, right?
Vigilantly, right?
Whoever's in there, you see the safest person.
Yeah.
And then you find the safest person. Mm-hmm. But the brokenness, you make a beeline for the worst person.
Right. It's what we attract, right? It's familiar.
Yes.
Oh, boy,
controlling that person. And you learn very quickly to become whatever they need you to be, whatever you need to be to keep them calm.
Okay. So this is what you learned from your experience. Was this primarily from your dad, the abuse from your father?
My dad and the step siblings.
Okay, because they were older.
Yeah, I mean, an example is they'd take me in the bathroom, 2 of them, and just kick and hit and beat until they got tired.
Wow.
And that was pretty much every day.
Wow.
And I had the balling up we were talking about earlier. I balled up just to protect my face. I learned how to do that.
You learned how to kind of put yourself in a position physically where you could be
Mhm.
less harmed. Yeah,
Yeah.
you and I were talking off air just a little. I was saying, based on my psychiatric lineage, I should be in a fetal position in the corner. This, I think, is what I
Yeah.
said. But sometimes we nature nurture both have an impact, right?
Mhm.
Biologically and also what we experience. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So wow, that's awful. So
Mhm.
so tell us more. So you're 6, your mom left for a year, and then what happened?
She finally, after a year of torture, it was my sister, my older sister, myself, and my brother, who was younger, but I
Okay.
don't remember ever seeing him. The first day we arrived, he got a beating for something, and he
Wow.
was, not even 4, he was 4, and that's the last I saw of him. I don't know where he was for that entire year. I don't remember
Wow.
ever seeing him.
You mean he just protected himself by hiding? Is that what you mean? Or
No, I think they locked him in a room, in a
oh
crib.
wow. Wow.
Mm.
So this is egregious stuff that you lived through. So did you ultimately go with your mom or did you stay with your dad or
No, after a year, she came and got us. We never told her of the abuse
mm,
because, the stepbrother is so silly now that I say it out loud as an adult, but he said if we tell anyone, he was going
sure.
to take a pillow and smother our little brother in his sleep.
So we use the word silly, but it's just because when we're outside of the situation with a different perspective, we can see
Mm,
that that's nothing silly about that as a child,
mhm.
right? So
Right,
you
we
didn't
were
let your mom know. So is that part of the shame that comes up that
the
you
shame
yeah,
and just the fear, but the protective nature. Who's my baby brother.
yeah.
I wanted to protect him, but I've always been very sacrificial of
Uh,
myself for those I care about.
okay. So even if we're not talking about the kind of abuse you sustained, isn't that
Mhm,
something that so many of us do? Mothers, sisters, children of parents, we take the emotional sacrifice for others, don't
mhm.
we?
Yeah, we take care of everyone else except ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So this for you on a very profound level based on
Mhm.
your experiences. Yeah.
That was learned for that first year, and it stuck.
Mm,
So when she came and picked us up, mom was really broken too,
yeah.
right? So the a different type of abuse happened when we moved in with her. She was gone for like 3, 4 weeks at a time. We didn't know where she was at. We'd run out of food.
Wow.
So my older sister and I had to get creative in how to find food. And we'd go to the neighbor's house, knock on the door and say, "Our mama's baking a cake and she doesn't have enough eggs. Can we get 2 eggs?" "Sure, honey." And then we go to the next house, knock, knock, knock. "Our mama's baking a cake and we need
Oh,
some milk."
wow. Talk about resourcefulness.
Yeah. But it taught, oh my gosh, I have to share this with you because it's so profound in the change that happened, right? It still impacts me to until this day. And we go to this little convenience store and steal hot dog weenies, hot dog buns, my
Mm,
sister and I, and we
okay.
did that for weeks, all right? It was summer in Texas and we had big coats on,
Figured it
but
out.
we were getting cocky, and then
Yeah.
it was called Mac's Super Stop. And one day Mac stopped us and he said, "Hey, you 2,
Huh.
stop." We turn around, we thought, "Oh no, we're going to jail." But when we turn around, Mac is holding a bottle of mustard and he
Wow.
said, "Y'all been taking my hot dogs for weeks, girls. Don't y'all want some mustard with those dogs?"
Look at that.
And we said, "Yes, sir." And he was real serious. He knelt down and looked us right in the eye and he said, "Do not steal from me." He goes, "If you need food, all you have to do is ask."
Wow.
And so we left. And this is the deal, Christine. I had no idea what that was.
Yeah, to
I'd
ask.
never experienced kindness.
Yeah.
And so all I knew is that he saw me and he made me feel that I mattered.
Mm.
And I wanted to do that. I wanted to be like Mac. And so from that moment on, my whole life changed. And it took him, what, 5 seconds?
One moment of kindness, one moment of awareness. How
Impacted
young were
me.
you?
I was 8 years old.
It when you described that, I would have
Mhm.
thought you were like 16. Like
No,
the little adult that you were,
mhm.
right? Yeah.
We had to be. It's survival.
Yeah. But
And I
also the
couldn't.
awareness of what that meant to you and how you knew that changed you somehow.
Well, and the plus one theory was created in 8th grade.
Tell me more.
You'll love this. I am a storyteller, by the way.
Keep going. Let's hear it.
Well, and so what we would do is in 8th grade in gym class, the coaches would time the mile, right? And I hated it because I was
Yeah.
malnourished and I was
Wow.
still physically unhealthy
Yeah,
from
sure.
beatings.
Eating hot dogs.
Yeah, and so I could never finish it, but they had this horrible rule where if you stop, you start over.
Oh, wow. That's
And I
awful.
hated it because the whole class would be staring at me, waiting for me to finish, but I would stop and they'd all go, boo. In 8th grade, that's a big deal.
Sure.
So this time when they said, okay, girls, we're going to do the time mile, I thought, man, I'm going to just do a slow trot and I'm not going to stop.
Okay.
And so lap 1, I did well. Lap 2, I could start to feel my legs burning and my lungs burning. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to do 4 laps. There's no way. But then I started thinking, Christine, I started thinking about the unfairness. I had spent the night with a friend and realized not everybody has filth and roaches and
Yeah.
disgusting, and they have a mom and a dad that feed them yummy food.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody had that life. So I couldn't understand. I knew there was a God. It's just I couldn't understand why he picked her down the street to have that life and he picked me to have the life I had. I thought I must be so unworthy that not even the God they tell me exists wants to do anything good for me. I was mad.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about that. And
While
it
you're
kept
running.
my mind off the burning legs and the burning lungs. But then I started crying, these tears of just frustration and anger. And I started running faster and faster. I mean, I was on a full-on sprint on that 4th lap.
Wow.
And I didn't even realize it. I finished. I couldn't breathe, but I finished. And as I was laying on the grass and the coaches were all looking at me in disbelief, I thought, what was that? Where did that come from? I had no idea I had that inside of me. And that's when I gave it a name because I started using that resource in everything, testing, dealing with family issues, all of it. And I called it +1.
And what did that mean in all those situations? Describe that for us.
When I get so negative and critical of myself, which I tend to do because of unworthiness, I start thinking, okay, this is what I think I'm capable of, but I can do one more. I can do a little more than what I think of myself.
So when
And
we're limiting ourselves, what we say is don't try to fix all of it, just one more inch, one more
a
step, one
small
more.
incremental step, just one tiny step is all you need to do, Pam. Don't get overwhelmed or anxiety was a big deal. And so I would just, in my mind, take a pause and just say, okay, I think I can do this, but I can do a little more. And it was
So
always enough.
So how did that experience and your upbringing and those moments that you're describing, being Big Macs, being kind to you, this moment,
Mhm.
how did that turn into this being your calling in your business? How did you tell us where that bridge came in?
It is therapy for me. There's no psychiatrist in the world that can make the trauma go away.
Yeah.
I wish I could just zap it out of my brain, but I cannot. And so, in order for me to get over all the negative things that it causes, all my urges, unhealthy anything, I have to think about the people that showed me kindness and then remember that I want to be like that. The +1, I raised both of my kids on that, by the way,
Hmm.
and I watched them transform. And when I became a youth minister, I preached that more than any scripture about applying yourself because mediocrity is killing our generations
Yeah.
where they do exactly what's expected. They don't do any more or any less. So how do you teach them? How do you show them?
Well, and I just want to make a comment about that, if I may, because
Yeah.
I think I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit here, and you can tell me what you think. Because I think every generation has felt like this, the next generation coming along isn't been as good as the last, right? And we also know that technology has changed the way we're raising kids and stuff. But I was an athlete, and I think about kids. I was outside playing all the time and organizing things. Now there's so much, everything's so organized for our kids, and we tell them exactly what to do. all day long. And then we expect them to know how to initiate and do those things on our own. So I think it's unfair that they get blamed and that this generation, the generations get that rap because we've socialized them that way. We've said it's too scary out in the world. Be in your rooms, be on your phones, be inside. Everything is a organized sport or an organized activity rather than letting them figure it out. So soapbox over. That's my opinion.
Let me tell you, as I was reading your book, I couldn't wait to tell you the number one thing I would tell. I visited with in youth ministry, I visited more with parents. I counseled with them more
Yeah.
than the kids.
Yeah.
And every single time I would tell them, you need to give your child a voice.
Yeah.
You need to listen to your person, your little person in your home, because you are dictating everything they do, every move they make.
Yeah.
They have no desire to make a choice because they feel like they can't.
Yeah.
And they don't have a voice. If you give a young person a voice, they're unstoppable.
Yeah.
I've seen it over and over.
Well, as again, that's part of your being suppressed as you
Mhm.
were, right? So how though did this become a business for you? So again,
Mhm.
these are theories and ideas that you were working in your own family, in your own ministry, but when did this become your living, your business, how
My
you help
thing.
others, your thing? Yes.
Well, it happened actually with my therapists. I had
Huh.
about 8 of them over a period of 8 years. And,
What time frame are we in? Are you in your 20s or in your 30s?
yeah,
Are you
I'm a single mom at this point,
okay?
and I go through a sexual harassment thing with my boss.
Oh.
So the company offers me free counseling in ex to
Yeah, I was one of those counselors at an EAP for I might have counseled you at some point. I used to do a
well,
lot of
it
that
changed
work.
my life.
It's
It
pretty
did.
crazy how it tell them it's not wanted. Tell them it's unwelcome. That's probably what you were coached on, right?
Yeah. Well, they just said, "In between sessions, Pam, we need for you to journal
Oh,
your thoughts, your feelings every day. It can
yeah.
be one sentence, it can be a
Huh.
book." So I started writing my emotions and my feelings. And what I liked about it personally is I could reflect 2 weeks back. Because if you ask anyone now, what were you feeling? What were your emotions 2 weeks ago? People don't know. You have to
Maybe
have it
maybe
written
2
down
minutes
some
ago,
reference.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, I have a pattern here.
Uh,
I keep doing this thing over and over, and I still keep doing it, even though I know I shouldn't. So the journaling helped me, but also the therapist would say, we have to tell you, Pam, we can't wait to read your journal entries because it makes us laugh. They make us
huh.
cry. You're a very good writer. And I thought, what? I'm a web designer. I don't write. And they're like, no, I'm serious. You should write a book about your life. And that's when the seed was planted. And so for 10 years, I took my journal notes and created the memoir from the Piney Woods.
Huh.
And what happened was I entered my raw journal entries every few chapters. So you can see the brokenness
Yeah.
and you're growing along with me. The chapters after the journal entry shows what caused the brokenness. And then it started me thinking, I think outside the box all the time. I'm very creative. And so I thought, man, I could help people because I realized after I published the book, people were reading it and telling me, Pam, we have been through something very similar
Mm.
and you have helped us so much. We don't feel alone anymore.
Yeah.
And what I realized is that I'm not one of few that grew up like that. I'm one of many. And it helps to read someone else's story that's similar to your own. And you can see the happy ending. You could see where I was healing. And then I became a youth
Yeah.
minister and I raised 2 amazing kids,
Yeah.
that life can be better.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to keep doing that, but I didn't know how to do it, to start sharing that message with a larger stage, to scale it.
Yeah. So
So
the book was the beginning of that.
the book was the beginning. It became a bestseller. I sold enough through Amazon.
Good for
Uh,
you.
yeah, ebooks and the paperbacks. But you make more money as an author if you go to markets. So I started going to markets and I would talk to literally hundreds of people
Yeah.
and they were all just enthralled. And I thought, people really need to hear this message of your past doesn't define you, it prepares you.
Yeah. What a
And
great message, by the way.
thank you. It helps people. It makes them feel better when they hear it.
Well, it's such a reframe. It's such a reframe in terms of how we think about what's happened to us and what it
Mhm.
can do for us, right? So, and that's not an easy reframe because
Mm-mm.
it's reasonable to want to feel like a victim and like why me and but if you can make most of the work is between our ears, right?
Yep.
And
Mindset.
most of it is. So, yeah,
Mm.
so tell us, so you went through, I'm curious about your bariatric surgery.
Yes.
So I'm assuming, and maybe this is an incorrect assumption, because what they say about assuming, don't do it.
Mm.
That's the
Let's
the way to
set
say
it
it
up.
without swearing. So were you overweight? I assume, is that the right
Yes.
decision
So
to point to make? That you, yeah, they
now
didn't
that
have
I'm looking,
Ozempic probably back then.
no,
Yeah.
I looking back now, I see that I was still broken,
Okay.
very busy. When I lost my first business to a horrible situation where I was really betrayed by my investor and
Ooh.
by another person, and it crumbled in one day. Everything I had built, and it's very similar. It's Empower. It was called Empower Plus One, and I went and helped small businesses learn how. I was a web designer, so I would design a website, teach them how to maintain it on their own, teach
Okay.
someone in the house to do it so they didn't have to pay. Then they could turn around and use that money to market themselves better.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, just to educate them, consult with them. I loved it so much and I lost it. That's another story, but
Okay.
lost it and went into youth ministry to hide
Okay.
and felt very undeserving of the position, unqualified. So all those old, unworthy, shame, all those things were just, I was weak. I wasn't strong anymore. And I wasn't going to counseling anymore. And I wasn't journaling.
Okay.
And so I was very broken. So I was replacing my brokenness, my pain with food.
Okay.
If I was upset, I would eat. If I was happy, I would eat. I would eat so much food. But I didn't realize how heavy I was getting until one day the doctor's like, we need to put you on high cholesterol medication. And I
Wow.
said, what? Why? He goes, because you're 300 pounds, Pam. You're
Wow.
obese. But I still didn't think I looked bad. It's so crazy until we went on a trip, and in the plane, I couldn't buckle the seatbelt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the stewardess came over. I said, your seatbelt's broken. It doesn't work. And she goes, ma'am, you need an extender.
Wow.
And I thought, what? And my husband's like, that's for fat people.
Oh, ouch.
And that's when I
Was that the
realized
point you just said, I'm going to divorce you?
he's so honest, it's painful. But
Because I might have to say that for you.
I was crying the first 3 years of our marriage, just so,
Yeah.
but he's very blunt,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not mean, just
Okay.
honest to a fault.
This is not the husband you divorced, or okay, this is the one you kept.
This is
Okay.
the one this is the
Okay.
one that is my
You
world
I'm glad he meant it with love.
in his mind. But
Is he an engineer?
he is an IT programmer.
Well, there you go. He just said it literally then. I get it
Everything's
now.
a spreadsheet. I'm
It's
just
true.
saying.
Oh, that's so funny. So,
And
wait. So I'm just trying to get oriented. So you're not an overweight kid because grew up with food insecurity. That's the polite. That's the diplomatic way to say it. The politically correct way. You were
yes,
not fed properly as a child.
right.
You get into adulthood. You're out of therapy. You're not doing well. You lost your business, and so you start self-medicating. Now, so how many of us? What's statistically? Give me two.
Hmm.
How many people come from physically abusive households? Do you have a number like this? What's the number
I'll give you a guess, but it's like 60, it was like 65% of
of
people are
house of
abused.
physically or
Or
emotionally?
no, any type of abuse,
Okay, that I
mental, like
buy.
abandonment,
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
neglect,
yeah. Yeah.
all of those. But it's a huge, I thought, what?
Yeah.
It's just like when you hear of like a disease, like, I don't know if you've heard of it, H. pylori, it's a bacteria in your stomach,
Mm.
but over 70% of people have that. They don't
This
even
is
know
why
it.
you take probiotics, right? That helps
Yeah.
that kind of
Probi
stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
miracle stuff, right? So that's interesting. And then it doesn't even get into the perception of abandonment because
Mm.
that's a whole nother aspect of feeling abandoned, just even when parents are whole and doing their best and not in this kind of this is a big, so that's a lot of people. Okay. So statistically, think about the number of people that are self-medicating with food.
Oh my gosh. Food or overworking,
Yeah.
over-pleasing,
Yeah.
all right? Scrolling.
Yeah.
We all get lost for hours in scrolling if we
Yeah.
wanna run away from what really
Yeah.
is happening in our minds.
Yeah,
in
so
our
you
hearts.
medicated with food. It got to the
Mm,
point where you didn't even realize how bad it was getting health-wise.
mm-mm,
So you
I
underwent
didn't.
the bariatric surgery?
Well, my sister, my older sister had bariatric surgery years, like 20 years ago before me. And she said, "You will never not do what you're doing now." Yes, I can control it. I don't need this surgery. She goes, "Yes, you do. It's a tool. It's not gonna fix you." She goes, "But it will force you to not eat the bad things."
To take a
And
pause. It will force you to
mhm.
take a pause, will it? And I'm getting to your doesn't it?
This is where delay the binge comes in
Yeah,
because this was almost 6 years ago, and I went to a an office that of team of surgeons, and they you in order to get insurance to cover it, you have to go through all this,
yeah,
counseling, and then you have to go through nutritional education. They have to do all the things, and then you still have to have something wrong with you before insurance will say, "Yes, I'll cover this surgery." So a year to prep to make the insurance companies happy
yeah,
so that they will pay for it.
yeah,
And so I did all that, but they never, not once, taught me about maintenance, right? They should have. And what I know now is that you should teach. If I'm 300 pounds, then teach me how to maintain that,
yeah. Because
where
it's
I
the
don't go up or
loss is
down.
always easier than the maintaining, right?
Right.
You
Because your whole life changes. You're literally, you have a pouch the size of your thumb.
yeah,
And it's a transition, a huge one for your family, for
yeah,
you. If you eat too much sugar or too much carbs or too much, you get sick.
yeah,
It's a big deal. And so I after the surgeon even says, "You have 1 year to get the bulk of the weight off. After that, there's risk of regain."
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what they
Because you
tell
can
you.
stretch things, right?
Well, yeah, or if and so he didn't say, "If you don't fix this, which
Yeah,
got you here in the first place."
yeah.
They never said that. They just give you
Well,
the tool and
yeah,
say, "Here you go."
yeah,
And I didn't like that because I joined a group of a community of other bariatric, post-bariatric people. I regained about 50 pounds after the first year
okay,
because I was still broken, right?
yeah. You
And
hadn't
with
fixed the root cause.
the
You fixed
relationship
the
with
symptom.
food. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And they were too. And they all felt defeated and ashamed. And we got our insides chopped up, and I still am
So
gaining weight.
tell us about what's the I want to make sure I get the message right about delay
Mhm,
the binge. So
mhm.
how did that what does that mean? Take us through that.
Delay the binge is all about a purposeful pause, literally. I know it sounds too simple to be true, but it is because if you say food, let's use food, all right? There's a lot of other areas that you can binge.
Just about anything, like you said, the phone, the shopping, the
Anything you're
anything.
doing that doesn't serve you and you're trying to escape what's really happening.
Yeah.
And delay the binge is simply a pause because, like, just say I'm going to eat a piece of chocolate cake. And I know that's going to make me, number one, it's going to make me sick.
Yeah.
And number two, it's just not going to be good for me the next day or two. It's going to make me feel sick, but I still do it, right?
Yeah.
We all educate ourselves on what's best for our health, and we know, but we still do it. We're like,
Yeah.
tomorrow, I won't do it, but we
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
every single time. Why? And so I got really curious about that. So I started doing some research. I started listening to podcasts, reading books, and it's all about the brain and the patterns we create and the lower brain chatter versus the frontal cortex, the
Yeah.
CEO. The
Yeah.
lower brain is like a caveman.
We're just responding, we're or reacting, we're not
It's
thinking.
and it's really not your fault. You're not weak. You're not broken. It's
Yeah.
just that you have a pattern you've developed that you have yet to undo, or you haven't created a new one,
Yep. Yep.
right?
So tell us how do you make this pause work? How do you
Mhm.
delay the binge?
Oh, there's so much to unpack there because every person is unique. Each person is very different in how they think and what's behind it all, what their mindset is. So you have to take a unique approach with each and every person. Now you can share what you're doing that's working. And I find that what works the best is the pause, like literally put a timer in your kitchen
Okay.
and put it on. For me, it's 30 seconds. For
Okay.
others, it may be 10. For others, it may be a minute, But if I'm about to eat something that's unhealthy, I put the timer on and I scroll literally through all my pictures when I was my unhealthiest, my
Mm,
biggest.
okay.
That does something, but it also gives me time to reflect on what's really happening. I had a really crappy day at work. My kids are pulling on me and I don't have dinner yet ready yet. And I didn't exercise today.
Yeah.
So give me the cake. I don't care.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way when we tap into it.
It is. But you
Yeah.
just gotta delay it by purposefully doing something to pause long enough to let your CEO override your lower brain,
It's
which is telling
science.
you, you deserve this cake today, Pam, to
That's the
settle down.
emotion, right? That you so having being in the field of psychology, what we know is that it's really hard to stop a behavior, but without starting a new one.
Mhm.
So you described set the alarm, that's a behavior you start, right? Look at the
Yep.
pictures in your case, that's a behavior you're substituting so that you're substituting. This is why people who quit smoking sometimes gain weight. They substitute
The
smoking for
food.
eating, right? It's so,
Mhm.
but we can change that into healthy things. It doesn't have to be this huge, like, I got to run around the block. It's just interrupting the pattern.
Exactly. Whatever that is, take your dog out to the backyard and play ball with him. Or for me, if I don't have dinner ready, which sometimes people get food to go, they get bad food,
Yeah.
fast food, because, oh, I forgot to thaw the chicken.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get pizza tonight.
Yeah.
But really, what you can do is you can't, a lot of people go through the drive through, get the food, lots of it, and drive home with it and eat it.
Yeah.
But if you make yourself go into the restaurant, guess what? You're not gonna eat that amount of
Yeah.
food because everybody's watching you.
It sounds like you have to part of what you're describing is you need a plan in advance to use as your pause. Otherwise, it's really hard to
Yeah.
do it in the moment because you need that CEO functioning to make that decision
Mhm.
unless you have that plan in place.
Well, and you can fire the CEO. We make every person that that was a part of our program do the 2-column journal.
Okay.
People don't like it at first because it's so old school. We just draw a line down the middle of the sheet of paper. On the right-hand side, just that morning, you just write down what you plan to eat for the day or what you
Mm,
plan to do for the day.
yeah.
And then on the left-hand side, you write what you actually did. Now, if it all matches, yay, we celebrate, give you gold stars,
Yeah.
whatever your thing is. But if you don't, you have to write the reason, like what was happening for me to stray from the plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's getting your CEO to think,
Well, you're training them. You're retraining
yeah.
them or her, right?
Mhm. And we share our journal at the end of the week and we look at it and I'm like, oh, it looks like every Monday when you have this meeting with your church or whatever it is you're doing or the football game for your kid, it looks like you're not planning ahead.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you need to have frozen soup cubes in your
Yeah.
freezer. We come up with ideas that's something in it alternate to what they're already doing. That's unhealthy.
Yeah.
But
So
it's time consuming. I mean,
Well, it's I shared with you my mother, part of her psychological issues was that she suffered from an eating disorder and she was a binge eater and bulimic at a good part of her life, and I should so many times those eating disorders are passed along. For some reason she just didn't try to control my food, which was really kind of crazy, and she also didn't put a lot of food in the house that made me want to eat and snack, and so I got lucky is what I'm going to say. But I know this because when I got injured when I was 30 and I was a high level athlete, and I remember looking at my college pictures. It was like, oh, in season, my weight's down, up late. And everybody thinks they're overweight when they're younger. And I'm like, what was I
yeah.
thinking? But so I don't have the emotional eating that a lot of people have, even though I'm a sugar gal. But when I got injured and I wasn't able to run and be active, I was like hungry for the first time of my life, like hungry. And I thought, I don't care how disciplined you are. When you are hungry and you are
Mhm.
driven, like all I could think about is food. So you take the way food is made now and it's over processed and that drives us to eat. And then you think about just all the emotions around food that
Mhm.
so many of us have. And then as in a medication, there's so many things working against us in this
Yes.
category that even if you don't struggle with the kind of binging and overeating that you're describing, most of us have something, but it's all work because it's food is managed, not cured. So this is
Exactly.
for average, not just for extreme situation. Like what you're doing can help so many people
Oh, yeah.
because it helps how we redefine our relationship with food and ourselves, right? It's both.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
well, so I can't believe we're at time already. How's that
Oh,
happen?
no. I
Yeah.
have so much
So
more.
I know I'm clearly first of all, you're remarkable.
Thank
You're
you.
remarkable that you are not just a survivor, but a thriver out of and helping others be better, kinder to themselves, first and foremost, through your kindness towards others. Like it's
Yes, it's a
really,
superpower. Like you say, listening is it's a
yeah.
superpower.
Yeah, but look, that's so much to your credit that this is how you're healing, but then also giving back to help others heal
Mm.
themselves. So, how can people find you? How can they work with you? How does that work?
Well, I have many outlets, but the best way to find me, find all of my work, everything I'm doing is to go to
Okay.
pamdwyerspeaker.com.
And that's
And
DWYER.
right, Pam, DWYER, speaker.com. And I do want to share that I write short stories. Every Tuesday they post, and they're hilarious.
Okay.
They're, they're
Fun.
East Texas stories of me growing up with a meaningful life message, but also funny.
Wow. So
But you
people
can find it
they're
there.
learning from you just through the things that you're posting. And they can
Yeah.
also, you have coaching programs, you have individual. How do
Mhm.
you work with people?
If you go to delaythebinge.com, we have not officially launched the program yet, so we're building a wait list because I
Okay.
don't want to do it just for 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
I want it to be for
You're a
a
community
community.
person.
Yes. Yes, because we all have to support one another, especially as women.
Yeah.
We need to develop a group, a community of women that we can help one another understand we're human, we're gonna mess up, but we can recover. We can be better, we can be
Yeah.
stronger than we started.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so find Pam and you speak. So if you want, if you there's so many people that you can help through your message. This is the most emotional episode. It looks like I could actually have been crying at your story because it's sad and yet so remarkable. Like it's just remarkable what you've turned what could be such an awful thing into such an amazing journey of help for others.
Well,
So
if I had to do it over again, I would do it the same because I love how I turned out.
yeah.
I want to help people be stronger.
So you're my kind of chick, as they say. So thank you, listeners, and Pam for putting up with my sneezing and just for sharing your remarkable story. And I look
You're
forward to
so
people
welcome.
reaching out to you. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for listening. This is Shine a Light, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, Christine, so
Thank
much.
you, Pam.